All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, hi everyone, welcome to the Society of Thoracic Surgeons Congenital Heart Surgery Database User Group / Town Hall meeting for today, December the 1st. Just wanted to touch real quick on the agenda. Just wanted to let everyone know on the call today from the STS, we have myself, we have Carol Crone, we have Addie Dolan, Donna McDonald, Jane Hahn, Emily Conrad. Also from our IQVIA team, we have, let's see here, let me go down the list. We have Rhonda, we have Jean, we have Joe, Case, and Sarah, and we also have Jeanette. From our core group members, we have a few of our core group members with us today. We have Leslie, Janet, and Chastity may or may not be joining us as well today. So that's who we have from our STS and IQVIA side. Just real quick for the agenda, I'm just going to provide just a brief STS update. We're going to forego the IQVIA updates today as the main purpose of this call today is to really provide you all the time to give your feedback to STS and IQVIA. So again, the purpose of today's call is to give you all the opportunity to provide your feedback on the current harvest and the transition. One of the most important things we would like to get out of this this call today is to hear from you what is critical to get your job done, to get this harvest completed, versus what would you all like to see as an enhancement to future reports. So just be thinking about those things, and to get before we get started, just to let you know how things are going to run. We have enabled the raise hand function. So if you do have a question or a comment that you would like to make, please utilize that raise hand function, and we're going to do our very best to get through everyone today, everyone that has a question or comment. And also, please be sure to make sure that your microphone is enabled. If your microphone is not enabled when we click on you to speak, then we'll have to go to the next person. So please ensure that your microphone is enabled and you use the raise hand function to speak. Again, we're going to do our very best to get through everyone today. With that in mind, we will have to keep in mind, the time that we spend on some questions. So again, just please be considerate of other people and their time to make sure that others have the opportunity to speak as well. Let's see here, what else? Carol, am I missing anything? Also, I did want to point out, the Q&A function is open and available. So if you do not have a microphone enabled or you do not wish to speak out loud to the group, please feel free to put your question into the Q&A, and we will cover those questions as well. So with that being said, just wanted to ask the STS team if they had anything else to add before I jumped into our brief STS updates. Donna, Carol, did I miss anything?
No,
or anything you'd like to add?
No, you did a great job.
Okay. All right. So with that, let's go into our brief, our STS updates. As you all are aware, the 2020 harvest update, the data file submission deadline has been extended. We had a call with the congenital task force right before Thanksgiving, and the discussion on the task force and between the task force and STS, a decision was made to extend the harvest deadline to Friday, January 15th, 2021. Again, the email notification was sent out last night. Our opt-out date is scheduled for Tuesday, January 19th, 2021. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to ask those here, or we can discuss as needed. I also wanted to point out just two other brief updates. The STS combination procedure codes, I have posted a listing out on the STS website. You can find those combination procedure codes under the version 3.41 under the additional resources section, and I have included a link here for you. And also the primary procedure determination rules document has been updated. And that also is currently posted out on the STS website. And the additions to that, the only differences in that document versus what was currently posted, we have added the Kawashima to the procedure-specific factor rule exception. And we added the harvest codes 2160, 70, and 80, the hybrid approaches also to the PSF rule exceptions. And then in addition, there is an additional rule is that if the Kawashima is coded in combination with either a Glen or Hemi-Fontan, the Kawashima should be designated as primary. And also I have included a link there to the current documents. Again, these documents are currently posted out on the STS website. That's actually all that I have. I just wanted to just let you all know that these we're not going to go through these remaining slides. Please feel free to check these slides out on the STS website. They will be posted after the presentation today or after our call today. Actually, I would suggest checking tomorrow. They would be posted definitely by tomorrow. So with that, we're gonna turn things over to you guys to get your to hear your feedback and hear your questions and give you all the opportunity to talk. So with that, we are going to turn things over to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. We're happy to hear your thoughts, have a discussion with you. So please just let us know your thoughts.
I see two questions in the Q&A.
Yep.
Leanne.
Yep. Let's see, our first question, do we have any idea when we will get our new STS report? So Murray, since we did extend the harvest deadline, obviously that does extend the turnaround for the reporting. We do not have a date yet for that reporting, as you know, we just established that harvest deadline. And the task force, does understand that the surgeons are aware that the delay in harvest does equal a delay in reporting. So that was discussed on the task force call. So, but yeah, we do not have a date yet, a specific date on when these analysis results will be available. I don't know if anyone had anything else to add. Okay. Our next question from Carrie, she says she didn't receive the new deadline email, did receive webinar email, however, late last night. And we can check the distribution list, Carrie. I know we do have issues with people with our emails being blocked, so we can check that. I'm sure you were on the distribution list as you're listed as a primary contact, but we can definitely go back and look. I think I got another email from another participant that had indicated that
check your spam.
That the emails were received. Yeah. Okay. Then we get several. Thank you. But yeah, just please check your spam and let us know. Okay. So we can double check the distribution list. Yeah.
Hey, Leanne, this is Carol. I think that, a lot of sites had hacking issues, and their IT department may have tightened up some of their rules to allow outside emails in, especially from distribution lists. So they may want to recheck with their IT departments to ensure that sts.org is still whitelisted. And I'm seeing this more now that within that last month that we've had the issues. So. And Carrie's saying, why not the other one? We sent them from two different, I believe, did we not send them from two different emails, or did we send them from the same email?
Yeah, we sent them from two different emails. The harvest extension email went out from stsdb@sts.org. So, yeah, so, and I also wanted to check and see if anyone is able to use the raise hand function. I'm not seeing any hands raised according to questions. Okay, there we go. So.
Oh, looks like Becky raised your hand.
Okay. Okay. All right, Dawn. I'm going to unmute you, Dawn. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Does anyone have any questions, please? If you have questions, just use the raise hand feature and we can unmute you and we can have a discussion regarding any of your thoughts, concerns. Ideally, we would like to, one of the things that we would like to discuss is what all you would consider as critical in terms of reporting in your data quality reports, in your data quality reports, anything that's in your data cleanup efforts to help you get your job done. What would you consider to be a critical item that's currently not there? All right. All right. I'm going to, looks like Carrie's at the top of our list, so I'm going to unmute Carrie. All right, Carrie, you are unmuted if you wanted to go ahead and ask your question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm still having the anti-fibrin critical errors show up, and the last communication that I had about, I was working with one of the senior techs, and then it seemed to be resolved. He told me to just go on in and fix the problem instead of waiting for the database to do it, or the, I guess, I don't know the right word, but anyway, so I went in and fixed it, and when I resubmitted, it still showed the same errors, critical errors. And then when we talked about it on the last webinar, I was told he was going to get back to me, and I still haven't heard anything about that. And I mean, now that the data has been pushed, it'll give me a little bit more time to try to figure out the problem. But with critical errors, those cases are totally, or they're not even evaluated, right? I mean, it gets uploaded. Correct. And it's not yeah, okay. So anyway, we'd like to have those cases in the harvest, and I'm not sure what else I need to do. There were decimal points on my end. Removed those decimal points, resubmitted, and then the critical errors are still there. So anyway, that's one of the things you were asking for examples, and
yeah, absolutely. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carrie.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Our next question. Oh, let's see here. Kelly is next on the list. So Kelly, you are unmuted, I believe. Let's see. Let's try that. Are you unmuted, Kelly?
I think she needs to unmute on her side.
Okay.
I did. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you for having the town hall. I think this is valuable for the data manager community, and thank you for pushing back the harvest. That was a bit of a relief. I certainly don't feel like I am confident submitting data at this point or finalizing it. One of my questions is, has there been any discussion about revising the support on IQVIA's end? One of my issues is we have tier 1, 2, and 3 support, and it generates quite a few emails, which can be confusing. And in addition to that, I've got issues that haven't been resolved for months, and I've continued to send in IQVIA support emails. One of those issues is that all of my donor procurements are being tagged as index procedures. So I don't know if there's any discussion about revising that support, but I think it might be helpful. And I think that one of my other comments might be that, I think it's great that we can get the real-time data quality reports. I like that functionality. However, we're not getting the support that we need to act on those real-time reports.
This is Carol Kelly. I think that's great feedback, and I really appreciate it. Do we know from IQVIA side what is going on with the I can't think of the name, what you just said, and why it's still showing up as a primary, the transplants, and why
the donor procurements, yeah. Yeah, I think we need to, and Melanie has Melanie, this was brought to, I think it was went over to Melanie, and that's something that we need to work on within the dashboard reporting, is to ensure that donor procurements are not identified as, the index procedure or the primary procedure.
Yeah.
So that, I don't think that's currently built into the logic in the dashboard reporting, and that's something that we need to get corrected within that dashboard.
This has been, and Kelly, you're saying that this has been a few months now that you've had this issue?
Yeah, since I think it was September 8th when I originally submitted it. It could have been right before then, but I can look back at my emails.
So almost 3 months that we still have the issue.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
one of my questions about that is I'm surprised that those are being counted as primary index procedures, since I think our that wasn't something that we had an issue with the previous data quality report from DCRI. So I'm not sure why this has continued to be an issue. If it, you know, a donor procurement would not be a primary index procedure.
Yeah, let's
I
see if
think
IQVIA has any update to provide on that, because that's kind of weird that it's been going on for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Hey Kelly, I've taken the notes down.
Yeah.
I need to see if we can get someone from our support to look into it or just internally and see if we can get back to you.
Okay, thank you. And will we have ample time to finalize our harvest once you do, come out with a final submission deadline? So right now it's January 15th. Can we be assured that all of the functionality issues with the IQVIA platform will be resolved, and we have all of the functionality that we had with the prior data quality report? I think that that's a big concern with the data manager community, is having that time to finalize the harvest report.
And
Yes, that's the,
Yep,
go ahead.
it's Donna. That's part of the reason we're having this call is we need to know exactly what it is you're missing, not what you wish you had, but exactly where the pain points are. So we can target that, focus on that, and not have to move the harvest again, but give you the tools you need and the time you need. Good to go.
And I don't mean to monopolize the call, but I appreciate that, Donna. Have you thought about doing a survey with the data manager community, an anonymous survey where people can submit their feedback through a survey?
Well, I think given the issues with email and enhanced security at sites, I think I would prefer to use the direct contact method, which is why we have Leanne's email and Carol's and mine and all of our contact information, and we're running a list for IQVIA, and then we will meet together with the IQVIA team, go through what's critical for the harvest. And that's on the data intake side. So everything we'll be working on now. So it's important to get your feedback on what you want in the reports and that kind of stuff, but you don't need that to harvest. What we want to focus on now is what do you need to clean up your harvest? So you can put it in the Q&A, you can put it in the chat box, you can send us an email. I think that would be easier for us to make sure that we're hearing from the people who are having issues.
Okay, so my feedback would be at the very least, we should have all of the functionality that was present in the previous data quality report to finalize a harvest.
Sure, fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Kelly.
Thank you.
I think our next person we have a question from is Dawn. There you
Oh,
go.
yep. Sorry, I was on mute. Sorry, Carol. Thank you. Go ahead, Dawn.
Thanks, it's Dawn. So when you asked about critical and enhancements, and I thought this might be good timing. There were some things that came up and we were told that they would be enhancements. One of my pet requests was in the DQR, a column that tells you the op type, or to give you the ability to filter those out, is really more critical than just like a fluff extra. When I explained it to IQVIA, centers that are entering anesthesia module for things other than surgeries, you could have hundreds of caths, MRIs, CT with anesthesia, where it's a critical error. But with this DQR, the way it's made, there's no way to know unless you individually go into each op ID to find out, oh, well, that was a cath. So I don't care if that was a critical error. That, you follow me?
Yes,
I don't know
thank
if anyone
you.
remembers that, but, and it
Thank
was
you.
an enhancement. So now I'm thinking, since we
No,
have
we've
a
heard that
spare time,
from multiple participants, that being able to filter to op type and focus your data cleanup on op type 1 and 2 is essential.
so what I've done is just to go a backdoor way, and I make sure from the dashboard reports that I have an internal query. I use the dashboard, put them together, see what's missing, or, you know, you have one more than I have, or two more, or whatever. So I can't really use the DQR as it is because of that. And I thought, since we're pushing the date further and further and there's more time, maybe that could be looked at, especially if you're mentioning it's been an issue with other centers too. Like Kelly said, we have to have faith that this is, you know, we have to be sure it's clean.
Right. Understood. Excuse me. Thank you, Dawn.
Thank
And that you're talking about the op type filter for the entire, you know, for all the reports and not just, you know, I know IQVIA is slated to come out the first part of December, the early December. They are adding that op type filter to the primary procedure mismatch report. So we did get that bit of that information, that good news from IQVIA. So they are initiating that op type filter onto the primary procedure mismatch report.
Well,
so
that's
that is
great.
coming.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I just, but what we really need it is not as a filter, but at just one of the columns in the DQR records level validation. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. And I'm writing things down as you're speaking as well. All right. Thank you, Dawn. We appreciate your feedback. Thank you so very much. And if you have any additional feedback points, just please feel free to email me if necessary. All right. Next we have Heidi. So Heidi, I'm going to unmute you, and you are free to talk. You may need to unmute on your end, but you are good to go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. First and foremost, I too want to thank all of you for your time and support and giving us an opportunity to speak. Sometimes it's hard, I feel, to type a question in a box and really reiterate exactly what it is you're trying to say. And I think oftentimes my commentary in text has been misconstrued or misunderstood and comes across in an accusatory tone, as I've been advised in past conferences with you. And that's nowhere near where I'm at. I am compassionate about what I do, and I am exceedingly compassionate about our data being accurate. And it's not even so much for one person's institution, but for the patient population that we serve. And for that, my tone may sound accusatory because I do feel as if we've not been provided the support that we deserve as a community that really busts our tails to give the STS the name that they have, which is backed by the data that we provide to you. So on that note, as a data manager who manages all three sectors, I have ongoing concerns with all three sectors. So I looked back at my emails in preparation for this meeting, and I have so much unresolved emails with the support tiers that I still don't have confidence in anything that I've submitted for the last 10 months now. I don't have a national report for adult cardiac, yet we have bills and invoices due this month. I look at my general thoracic, there was clinical staging, EBUS methods that were not accepted. And I'm advised that it's not critical, so don't worry about it. but yet it's flagging something that's not even from the version that I submitted, which makes you question and having confidence and where that's going to go. If I go to my next email, I was trying to assess congenital heart mortality status on the dashboard, and I have an email from support stating that the dashboard report is not designed to perform any sort of analysis. So when I look at my mortality rate, it shows me I have a roughly 30% mortality rate because it's calculating every event of which a patient died, albeit one patient, 10 events is flagged as mortality, which makes absolutely no sense. Then to be told by support that the dashboard's not to be performing any kind of analysis, what value is it if I'm not supposed to be analyzing that data? Then I submitted over the weekend my adult cardiac harvest, which is supposed to close on the 9th, when we specifically requested to not have harvest run into the same week. It would have been had you not pushed back congenital heart, but it's flagging that my hematocrits are lower than my hemoglobins. And when I screenshotted and sent the information over as to what's in my third-party vendor to them showing this is the value, it's flagging it as a warning. I'm responded back from support stating it's just a warning, don't worry about it. That's not the point of the matter. The point of the matter is the system's not seeing that, and they're telling me to not worry about it, but it's not being analyzed correctly. So that is a problem.
Right. Heidi, I hear the pain and frustration in your voice, and I'm sure it's shared by other people on this call. So I want to thank you for speaking up. I'd like to focus on congenital today because I think it's important for us to figure out exactly what areas are the biggest pain points for congenital. So I'm hearing support, I'm hearing op type. We're also seeing some in the chat, some people who don't participate in anesthesia, who are getting missing anesthesia variables. So please, for as specific as you can be about what's not working or what needs to be fixed in order to help you help your confidence in your submission for the congenital submission in January, please send us to in writing, or if there's anything else that I haven't said out loud, please, for those of you who haven't spoken up yet, raise your hand and let us know specifically what you need to get your harvest in. And as Heidi said, feel confident that what you're submitting is in agreement with what you expect. Your case numbers match, all of that. Your mortality counts are right. I think on the data output side or the reporting side there's definitely work to be done. And your point is important about how things are being calculated incorrectly. So we need to know that, and I appreciate you sharing that.
Donna, as much as I can respect that you want this call to be a CHSD call, problem of the real matter here is that none of this is functioning accurately across any of the sectors. And that's a major problem because it's continuously being pushed off to the next, to the next, to the next. And ultimately, we're never going to reach a destination with that mindset.
I feel your pain. I'm living it. So I totally get it. But I think because we have limited time, we want to focus on congenital because we need to know what needs to be fixed in preparation for that January 15th close. So we need to get it fixed as soon as possible so that people have time to submit or resubmit and clean up their data.
So with the impending harvest for adult cardiac being on 12/9, maybe tomorrow's meeting for adult cardiac should be a town hall as well, because it seems to be the only way we're going to get something squared away here.
Thanks. Well, I know we plan to take questions, but is there anything else related to congenital you wanted to share?
Nope.
Thank you, and thank you for speaking up, and don't ever stop.
All right. Our next question, we have Carrie up. So Carrie is up next. So Carrie, you are unmuted. You're good to go, Carrie.
Oh, cool. Thank you. I just had two other questions. The first question, as you were speaking about trying to get more congealed information about critical issues that we, that we are seeing as problems. I'm wondering if there's a way to, I guess query is a good word, but also just get a compilation of the tickets that have been submitted through IQVIA. I know that I think all of my tickets through tier 1 have been canceled and moved to tier 2. But if we were I mean you when I say we, to group them all together and maybe find where the most percentage of issues has been according to the tickets being submitted, because that's really the direction you gave us. If we have issues, we need to submit a ticket. It's captured better that way. And maybe this would be a way also to group together the most prevalent problems, and also be able to see what has been responded to or fixed. I don't know, you might be doing that already. That popped into my head as you guys were speaking about that. And then my second question is, I'm pretty sure, I'm confident about the dates for the harvest, the dates that we're supposed to be submitting. But I thought on the last couple of webinars, there was some question about adding in another 6 months. And I just want to make sure that I'm putting together the information correctly, but as I'm uploading everything. So if you could confirm the dates that we're supposed to be, I guess, getting together for whenever the harvest is submitted, I would appreciate it. Thank you.
Good question.
Yeah. Hi, Carrie. The harvest dates for this harvest are the standard your fall 2020 harvest date. So we're collecting data up through 6/30/2020.
Okay, and so is it 7/1/2016 through 6/30/2020?
Yeah, it's a 4-year reporting period. So yeah, so that would be the reporting period. You don't have to submit 4 years of data. If you've already submitted that data to, the first 3 years of data to DCRI and you haven't gone back and updated any of that data, then you don't need to resubmit that. You could just submit that the last year. So, just keep that in mind. But I know, some participants do 4 years of data in one file, but we encourage you to submit, the smaller files, but you don't have to submit all 4 years if you haven't gone back and cleaned up any of that historical data that was previously submitted.
Well, okay, so that brings up another question that I have then, because I am one of the people that every time I upload information to IQVIA, I submit the entire chunk of time, the 4-year chunk. And regardless of what I've changed in the vendor data pool or just vendor, I have multiple DAT files, which I've saved every DAT file and they're different. And I actually did 2 separate uploads of the same DAT file and got different feedback from both DAT files that were the same, exactly the same. So I'm a little nervous about not submitting the information each time because I don't really trust the results I'm seeing. So I do it on purpose, and every time I go in and fix what it tells me I need to fix in the vendor, in the database. So anyway, I guess that's another one of my critical issues, but I can't really pinpoint anything because I don't know what I'm going to see every time. I just respond.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, and I think you had addressed that before, and I think that's should be something that we should definitely look at on the IQVIA side, if and the SDS side, if you're not you're just submitting the exact same file with no changes, and you're getting different issues, and that should be addressed. And we should delve deeper into that and see what's happening there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of thought about it ahead of time and did it on purpose because it was during one of the monthly updates at IQVIA, and I just wanted to see if what we were told was going to be fixed was fixed. So anyway, that's one of my things. So thank you.
Leanne, can I say something? This is Janet.
Sure.
I might have confused a few people on the Eddie call because I was submitting 4.5 years because I cleaned up some stuff in the beginning of 16, and I had helped out a site that their data was inconsistent. So I wanted all of the historical data to be correct. So just going forward for those patients as things changed. So I did submit the first 6 months of 2016 as well as the 4-year window, just so anything that's changed in terms of definitions or things that were tweaked would be included in that data, because it is used for research and it is used to reestablish the next set of stat categories and stuff like that.
Okay, great. Thank you for the clarification, Janet. We appreciate it. All right, next we have McCall. I'm gonna unmute you, McCall. McCall, you're able to talk, and I think you're good to go. Yes, ma'am.
So first of all, I would like to echo the previous data managers. Thank you for opening it up for a two-way conversation. I really appreciate it. I also pretty nervous about the accuracy of the data, because I had the same issue as Carrie was just describing. But I think, we've been trying to work and help and collaborate with SDS and IQVIA for many months now. And I think there is some stuff that we have to change in order to be a little bit more efficient. I think all the data managers have been spending tons of hours to help this move forward and to help with the IQVIA platform. It was much easier for us with DCRI before. And we want it to be a success, but we need to work together. And so I think my main issues, as I said, is the accuracy of the data, but also the communication. And when I say communication, I think it's part of it is also with SDS, but mostly with the support from IQVIA. I think the tier 1, tier 2 doesn't work, but also sometimes emails are very limited, and trying to explain to someone a complex issue in an email doesn't work. I think phone calls can, or sharing a screen will be much more helpful. Having the opportunity to send secure emails so we can share what we see on our end, that can be also helpful, just to improve that communication. Because if sometimes those conversation goes for weeks, and honestly, because I submit many tickets, I kind of forget, and this is not the only thing I'm doing. So, and so I think we have to improve that. And if we can have more conversation like this, because I think you can hear us, we can hear you, and I think we will all can benefit from it.
Thank you.
Yep, I agree. That's great feedback, McCall, and I like your ideas. Thank you very much, and we appreciate you taking the time to join today and provide your feedback to us. So we greatly appreciate it. Did you have anything you wanted to add, or are you good?
If we can have an action items after the meeting, like what's, how can we be practical and make changes?
Okay, that's a good idea. All right, great. Thank you so much, McCall. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, All right. Let's see here. Our next question we have up is from Ruthie. So, Ruthie, you are unmuted. You're good, free to talk.
Hi,
Ruthie.
everyone. And just like everybody else, thank you to STS. Thank you, for opening up this platform and letting everybody voice their concerns. And I guess just one of the things that, and I kind of, like I said this before, is my center, we haven't submitted or uploaded anything to IQVIA in months because locally we're cleaning up our data as much as possible before we even submit because of having to look at 6 reports to make sure that we're accurate is quite tedious, and especially when you do have quite a few people working on the data and different people are making changes at different times. And when you submit and you do look at like the harvest summary report, you do look at your data quality report, you don't always see the changes. You're not always it's not always captured. So one of the things, just right now, because I know other people are having the same issues, is there any way to get maybe a PDF report kind of streamlined like DCRI did for us until we get used to these other reports of looking at the 6 different reports? I don't know if that's even possible, but that's one suggestion that I would like to give.
I would like this. Thank you, Ruthie. This is Carol. I'd like to hear from IQVIA on this as to what the options are for printing PDF reports from the unadjusted dashboards that the sites have access to.
And the data quality reports, I think those are printable.
Yeah, they're printable, but I'm just saying, is there a way to get a streamlined one like we got from DCRI? Because we would work off that. That's what we worked off. That's how we cleaned up our data. Now
I know, Ruthie. This is Donna. I have to laugh a little bit because I can't tell you how many complaints we got about the data quality report from DCRI. So I know,
I know.
There's some comfort and familiarity, right? You knew it, you knew your way around it. So this is disruptive and uncomfortable. I don't think there's a way to put it all in one. It is, we can take this back and talk about maybe some consolidation, but one PDF report I do not think is possible, but we'll talk about maybe consolidating because I can see that it would be tedious to go to multiple reports as you work through your data. Although that being said, I think Melanie or someone provided sort of a roadmap, start here, do this, do that next. So we'll work on ways to optimize what's created, but also tools to help navigate the system.
No, thank you. No, and that the flow, like how she set that up of how to go to how to navigate each report is great. Like that's awesome. But like I said, it's still just a lot of work. It's a lot more time that we have to put into doing the data harvest.
Thanks,
Right.
Ruth.
Thank you, guys.
I understand. Thanks, Ruthie. All right. Let's see here. Next up is Carrie. Carrie, wait, it's gone up to the top. Let's see here, Carrie. Carrie, you're unmuted. You're ready to go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I just wanted to echo a few things. I don't want to, beat a dead horse, but there are several issues. I too am not receiving the emails and I have whitelisted them. I've gone back with my IT people. We've re-whitelisted them. So I'm not receiving that as well. Next, I completely echo a lot of Heidi's concerns. I think the frustration comes, at least for me, is I'm hearing the same questions over and over and over, or hearing the same problems over and over and over. And where I know that IQVIA, whoever they're all trying to fix everything, but are the fixes causing new problems? I don't really, that are somewhat related, because it just seems like it's the same questions and issues over and over. I also don't receive the same feedback when I submit the same DAT file. That is a serious problem, and there are concerns from my upper level as to how accurate anything is going to be. And I want to echo confidence to them, but it's really, really kind of hard, actually. So, you know, that's, I just wanted to echo those things and just sort of throw it out there that, I don't know. I'm not sure what, I don't know. I guess I thought by now things would be, you know, up, running, and on the go. And I've had my data ready for quite some time, which I've got, you know, I could always go back and maybe fill in other things, but I don't know. I'm not able to echo confidence to my leadership, and I don't like feeling that way. I do like my data to like the others to be clean, and I'm not sure if it is. I think it is, but then when I receive conflicting reports upon submission, then I start questioning it, and then I start spending more time going through it. That's all I've got. Thanks.
Hey, Carrie, this is Carol. I have a question. And I'm concerned, I would be concerned if I submitted the same .dat file and got back different reports in my DQR. I would be really concerned about that because I wouldn't know what is accurate, what is not accurate. When that happens to you, are you reaching out? Have you ever reached out to IQVIA to let them know? And I guess the same question for IQVIA is, are you hearing this from sites? Because when we look at the number of support tickets on a weekly basis, we're seeing, you know, less than 10 tickets come in per week for congenital. And I know that this is a small group, but it makes me a little concerned that we're hearing this from so many people, and we're seeing what STS is seeing is not a large number of tickets coming in. But I guess for you, Carrie, have you worked with anybody at IQVIA when this has happened? And then also for IQVIA, are you aware of this? And what are those issues? And what are we doing? What's being done to look into that or investigate that further? So Carrie, if you wanted to answer first, and then maybe IQVIA can provide some clarity on that. That would be great.
Yeah, no, I haven't. What I do is I can't, well, really up until, I guess, recently, I thought it was something that I was doing wrong, or I was misreading, even though I'm like, I know this is the same DAT file, but why am I only, you know, why are the numbers coming out wrong and different? So I go back and I look, and I'm one of those that assumes I'm doing it wrong first before I reach out to others, and then hearing that others are having the same issues. And I think, well, okay, maybe that's not me. Again, it comes back to that confidence level. Is it me? Am I doing something wrong? Am I reading their, what they're sending back wrong? Or is there something wrong with the algorithm or the system?
Yeah, I think right now in the spot that we're at with this new platform, I think the right way for you and for others to approach that when you're seeing a discrepancy in the exact same DAT file that's being submitted is to reach out to IQVIA and let them know. And I would not put it on yourself to think you're making an error. I would say, hey, we have this new platform, we have all this new technology. I know that I submitted the same file, and IQVIA can check. I don't want to speak too much for them, but they would be able to check that DAT file to make sure it wasn't different from the one you submitted before. So please don't beat yourself up if you're seeing that. Please reach out to IQVIA so they can check into that further and figure out, because some of those problems they could either be, it might be in the DAT file, maybe it was a vendor type of issue, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's in IQVIA issue and it's accepting in something differently. So I think it's really important for you to reach out to IQVIA if you're seeing that, and for everybody, if you're seeing that, to please reach out to IQVIA, because it sounds like a lot of people are having the same issues. I don't know that we've heard this from IQVIA, that this was something that is a consistent problem at multiple sites. So I think that would be really helpful. And I'm sorry that that's happening, because I can only imagine how frustrating it is at sites. I know when I was doing it, if I were to get something like that, I probably, would have stayed extra hours late just to try to figure out what the heck I did wrong. So
I've done that.
I've been there. I get it. And I think it's really important that we all need to be working together. So I hear what you're saying. And I'm sorry to everybody who is doing that and feels like they don't have the right tools to get their job done. But I'd like to hear from IQVIA too, to see if they are hearing if they are hearing those issues, and what kind of steps are they taking to work with sites on that. So thank you, Carrie, for your feedback. That's really helpful.
Before we jump in that,
This is
Carrie,
Jeanette.
sorry, hey, Carrie, may I get your last name?
Sneed.
Smeed?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Carrie, you want to put it in the chat box for the panelists so Case can have it. Cases from IQVIA. Go ahead, Jeanette, sorry.
thank you. I just wanted to comment. So the way that the platform works is if you have a file, a submission file, and you upload it for the very first time, never uploaded it before, say start of the day on Monday, and you upload it, then you will get the data quality report, and that will be specific to that upload submission. And if you make absolutely no changes to that file, you do not run an export from your vendor system, but maybe after lunch that same day on Monday, you submit the same file again, exact same file, then what the data quality report is going to show to you is a set of messages that indicate we already have that submission. We already have this information, and we're not seeing any changes. So there's some messages that appear within the data quality report that indicate that. And we have covered that in training. So hopefully that's not new information. But I did just want to clarify that if you are seeing different messages in the data quality report, when you submit the same file repeatedly, that could be because you're just seeing different messages indicating we already have the original submission, and it doesn't necessarily indicate a problem. Now, I do agree with Carol. If you are not sure how to interpret those, then our support team is definitely familiar with that process and can help step you through that if that's not clear. And absolutely, if you are seeing other behaviors, something other than those types of messages just indicating there's been no change in the submission, that is definitely information that we would want to look into if you are confident there have been no changes in your file. So please do reach out to the STS tech support at IQVIA.com mailing address to allow us to look into that further with you.
Great.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Great. Thank you, Jeanette. Thanks, Carrie. We appreciate it. All right. Next, I'm going to move on to Autumn. Autumn has been waiting. She's next up in line. So Autumn, you should be good to talk. You may have to unmute yourself when you're in.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you so much for having this town hall. It is very helpful to be able to have a two-way conversation. So thank you so much for that. One of the areas that has presented an issue to me, it's not critical to get my job done, but it is causing it to take double the amount of time that I would need to verify my data. And that is the usability of the IQVIA platform, meaning the view screens. And I know that I've addressed this before. And so, I apologize for repeating myself, but it is extremely frustrating to go into one of these reports and just see just one line of 50, 100, however many lines, and to try to scroll through those and pop that out, and then I have to go and pop something else out to look at one thing. It is very frustrating. And so perhaps it would be nice to see in the future the actual layout of the IQVIA website in such a way that we can view more information at a single time, and maybe that would help it. Maybe it would help us feel like more of the DQR that we're used to. I didn't have any expectation that it would be the same, but maybe being able to see more of the information at one time would help would help with that and filtering the information out that we need to filter. And I mean, I'm telling you, it has taken me double the amount of time, and I've done it, and you know, that's fine, but it really has, that's been one of my biggest frustrations, is not being able to see more information at one time on any given report. You know, if we can't have all the reports on one screen, whatever. I just want to see more of each report that I'm actually looking at a single time. Thank you for taking my my concern.
Thanks, Autumn.
Thank
So
you,
I would
Autumn.
add is consolidate the feedback tools as much as possible.
I just want to, so, you know, if I go into my harvest summary report or any of the reports, if I can, when I see the information, it's hard, you know, I can't share my screen and show you what I'm talking about, but, you know, if I'm going through and looking at, you know, my missing variables report, I know that there's, you know, 50 items under this one little section, but I can only see one or two. And then if I select one case, you know, underneath it where it should pop it out, I can barely see any of the information at all. So I'm popping out one screen and then, you know, have to select that item and then close that and then pop out the lower screen to look for the very specific information. And that alone, you know, when you're going through hundreds and hundreds of cases, is extremely time consuming. So my feeling is, you know, I don't know, I'm not a software developer, but I don't know how it can be reworked to give us more the ability to view more of the information at one time, you know, in each particular report, if you can't merge them all together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, I concur with that.
I have a question
Yes,
related to that, which is great feedback. When you work in the system, are you working on a really big desktop monitor computer? Are you, but maybe not full screen? Are you working on maybe a laptop with sort of a smaller screen? You know, do you normally have the system, the browser, your web browser? Is it full screen when you're experiencing these issues, or do you kind of, you know, maybe you need to be looking at another system at your site, so you're not able to be full screen? I just want to understand a little bit more about how you're experiencing this system related to this feedback.
Yeah, I mean, I have dual monitors. They're large monitors. I'm looking in full screen. So I feel like I should be able to see more of the information, and I can't.
Okay.
It seems like there's a relatively large area of the screen up at the top that says like, you know, congenital database, DQR or harvest summary, whatever the report is. And it's like, it's a large section, but then the actual information that I need to look at, that I need to adjudicate is very tiny. And so that drives me nuts trying to filter this information, because it is so extremely time consuming. The usability of each report, I feel like, you know, the information is there. I can't see it in such a way that would allow me to have the maximum efficiency I can. And I think maybe that might be where some data managers are having a hard time, because it's like, man, I need this information, but sometimes it's not viewable. You can't see it. And so it's like, is it really there? I don't know. I want to be able to see it, but it's like, I mean, half of my screen is just the heading of whatever report I'm on, and there's just a small area of it. And like I said, I have very large screens, dual screen at once. So that's just been a frustration.
Thank you for that feedback. I think that's pretty clear from our side, from the IQVIA side. But if we do have any questions on that, there are some settings that can sort of change your experience in your browser. So it may not be the same as everyone else. If you are zoomed in, I know I do that sometimes on websites, and then it's sort of set in my browser and I don't always realize that. So that can result in a slightly different experience from one person to another. But if that's not in play for you, then I think that the feedback point is clear. So thank you.
Okay, and two, I can always send a screenshot of what I'm talking about to Leanne, if that would be helpful.
Yes, please.
That's fine, absolutely. Yeah, that's fine, absolutely, and I can forward that on. Not a problem at all.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks, Autumn. We appreciate you taking the time to give us your feedback. All right, next I'm going to move down to Owen. Owen's been waiting quite a while. Let's see here. Let's see. Hold on. Owen, you should be good to go.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right, so like everybody else says, thank you everybody for the time and effort that you're putting into this. There are a couple things that stand out to me. The first is I am not an expert on the IQVIA platform because I'm the vendor, so I don't necessarily go in there, but we do help people going into the system when they have questions and verify different issues that they're having. And I know that there's been some requests for this, but on the home page on the uploader screen is to have the number of records submitted. Now I know that you have number of changed records in the submission summary, but really to the users, they need to verify that they're uploading the same number of records that they're anticipating. And part of this has to do with, the learning over the past, 15 years of submitting to STS. Their DQR, or MVR in this case, gives specifically the number of records at the top of the report. And you're changing the workflow for all the users, and it's difficult for them to manage these changes when they're in different locations, when the top issue is looking at, the first thing is, do I have the minimum surgery date, the maximum surgery date, and the number of records uploaded properly. And it seems like a lot of people are confused by, you gave the example, you submit your first file and there's 100 records in there, and you change one of those records and resubmit the file. Well, your uploader screen says 1. It doesn't say 1 of 100. It just says 1 of 1. And I think that's very confusing to a lot of the users. And again, that's due to the repetition of what we've done over the last many years. The other thing I just wanted to quickly comment on, Heidi, with regards to the dashboard reports. So again, going back to what we've learned over the years is that the DQR is there to tell you all the information about your data. And I don't know if IQVIA has the opportunity to do this, but the DQR or MVR is built to tell you you have 1,000 operative deaths. That might be 10 patients or 10 surgeries in the congenital, but the idea is that it's asking you to verify that the information they received is correct. So the MVR or DQR can't give you the analysis part of the information because they need to exclude records. They need to do all their analytical stuff, which should be located on the analytics dashboard. So I'm kind of backing up IQVIA on that answer, but I think that, part of this is we haven't seen the data analysis reports yet, and that's part of the issue. So those are my 2 cents. But yeah, ultimately, I think the main uploader screen needs to have the the number of records in the file so that people can validate, yes, I've sent the right number of records. You could still have the changed records, but at least give the full number of records.
That's a great point, Owen. Yeah, and I remember in the in regards to the mortalities, and this, maybe something we could discuss with IQVIA in the DCRI data quality report. We had the number of mortalities and then the number of patients. So you had the two different numbers. So you could look to see, in multiple patients with multiple surgeries will be counted more than one time, things like that. So I think that's something we can work on to make clearer on the dashboard side. So thank you for that feedback, Owen.
Absolutely.
So, all right, I know we are over time and I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I see one more, I think Autumn had another question. I see another hand raised. Let me see, Autumn. Okay, it looks like she lowered her hand, so I don't think there are any more questions. I do know we have a lot of comments and questions there's in the Q&A. Obviously, we won't be able to address all of these on the call today as we are already over time, and I definitely want to be respectful of everyone's time. What we do plan to do, just so you all are aware, we do have a transcript of all of these questions and comments that you've put into the Q&A. And STS and IQVIA will be meeting after this call. We'll have a kind of a debrief after this call to discuss, the feedback and discuss on things ways that we can work to improve things and just discuss your feedback and your comments. So I just wanted to let you know, even though you have your questions and your comments in the Q&A, if we haven't touched on them, that we will look at those. And then if there are specific questions that need to be addressed, we can respond personally to specific questions as well to let you know the follow-up. So I'm not seeing any additional hands raised, but I just wanted to, again, thank you all for taking the opportunity to sign on today and provide your feedback. I think this is a great format, and as many of you suggested, I think this should be, we should have these town halls, more in the future, and just provide you all to open up that line of communication. You can hear us, we can hear you, and we can address our concerns, and most importantly, all work together to make this transition better and to make sure you all have the tools that you need to get your data submitted and harvested, and to where you feel, most importantly, to where you feel confident in the data that you've harvested. So with that, I just wanted to thank you all today, and also just please note that these slides and the recording of this conversation will be available out on the STS website. It will take about 24 hours to get these slides posted, so they will be posted again out on the STS website. If you have any additional questions or concerns that you didn't get a chance to raise today, please feel free to reach out to the STS team. Please feel free to contact me. My email address, as you all aware, is on the slides, and you can reach me at ljones@sts.org. You can also feel free to reach out to Donna as well. We're all here to support you and to help you in any way possible. So thank you to our IQVIA colleagues, my STS colleagues. Thank you all, and our core group members. Thank you all for being on this call with me today. And we will be in touch with any questions that you have in the Q&A that need to be addressed. And again, just please rest assured that IQVIA and STS will be meeting. We'll have a debrief and discuss all of your feedback. Great feedback. We totally appreciate it and your concerns, and we will be in touch and working to make things better. So thank you all for your time today. I appreciate it.